And
Make the new wife feel very uncomfortable. They
it,
don't. I don't know. Maybe sometimes they don't think of that, but
I
that is a side effect. That isn't a nice thing.
I think in some cases they do. The ex-wife's family, can the ex-wife's family, the ex-husband's family can also cause problems too.
Right.
Now, for example, I know in instances where grandparents are encouraging the children to be disrespectful
Wow.
to the parent. Yeah, you got the grandparents in on it. Grandparents, they think they have a lot of power. But one thing that, is true is that grandparenting is a privilege.
Sure is.
It's not a right. And when you talk badly about the father or mother and you encourage bad behavior and you talk negatively, those kinds of rights can be revoked. So if you're in a
Mm-hmm.
situation where you have a grandparent or an in-law that's talking negative to your children or encouraging your children or pumping the children for information,
Right.
that's a big problem, and that has to be changed.
Mm-hmm.
For example, they may not respect the fact that, the person is remarried and they just, want to cause a problem. And they may, when children, and we're going to get to a part where children repeat things out of the home and children, can talk outside of the home what's going on for various reasons. And if you're hearing things coming from a child,
Right.
it's best to ask the adults, is this true? Instead of taking that and going with it and causing more problems, ask the parents.
Oh, verify your info.
You
Yeah.
verify your information. If they're hearing this and this and that, then ask questions. Don't take it and run with it and take it as truth
Mm-hmm.
because you don't know what's going on. And it's best when you're in a family situation. If you don't like the new person,
Right.
I don't think that we're all adults here. Like for me, I'm 47 years old. I mean, I don't really care. I'm almost 50. I
You
have a
still got a
family.
little while.
I have a family. I have this and that. To me, I'm all good. But if you're in a situation like that, making everyone uncomfortable and making it is making it an already touchy situation worse. It's best to just if you can't be helpful, maybe just keeping quiet, moving forward.
Right. Right. And like what Kristen outlined, it takes a village to raise a kid. So it takes grandparents, it takes aunts, it takes uncles, it takes this whole family structure. Everybody.
Well, your mom and my mom are awesome.
They are,
kids.
but
We have really
everybody just
awesome.
needs to pull in on the same page and
Hmm.
realize that's what this is for.
Hmm.
The ultimate thing is the village raising the child,
Hmm.
so that child can be productive in life.
That's it. And as step parents, we have our own children, we have jobs, we have careers, we
Right.
have our own families. We can't always, be what someone wants us to be. We can't always be where people want us to be. I think sometimes people forget that, we have lives too, and we just can't always do what other people want to do. We have two families
Right.
with different sets of kids that go in all different directions. And when you have people going in all different directions, there's times, I know on weekends, we don't even have time to see each other,
Right.
let alone for 5 minutes, because we got 4 kids in 4 different directions,
Yes, we do.
let alone have family time on a weekend with ourselves. I can't remember a weekend that we've done anything together in like the last, I don't know how long.
It's well, we've been doing a radio show, you and I.
On Sunday, but without the kids.
I know,
Okay.
unfortunately.
Number 8.
So number 8, getting a second divorce.
Mhm.
On top of the day-to-day stress that goes on in a second marriage, it may seem that a second divorce is the answer.
Mhm.
I'm sure that most would agree that the first divorce was very dramatic
Yes.
and often takes a long time to recover from emotionally, spiritually, and financially.
Mhm.
By allowing outside influences to endanger your marriage, you're setting yourself up for a second failure. Instead of going for a second divorce, realize that the problem that you're experiencing now, you will experience with another partner.
For sure.
I mean, wherever you go, there you are.
Well, not only there, the problem's still there. If people are making problems, that
Exactly.
ex-partner is still going to make problems no matter who you're married to.
Exactly. In order to make your relationship better, you can opt to change the negative behavior that's occurring in this marriage.
Hmm.
Although it may seem like a daunting task, and often a second divorce seems much easier on paper than the first, please realize that if you're not already devastated from the first divorce, you will most certainly feel the effects of a second divorce.
Oh, yes.
And the ones that will get hurt the most are the children.
Yeah, yeah.
A much better option may be to learn how to make a plan. Establish some rules and boundaries for your family, then follow through on them. Can you imagine putting your children and yourself through another divorce? Can you imagine losing more money, losing another home, losing your financial stability that you built up? I mean, it goes right out the window in a second divorce.
Well, and like we talked, with the divorce statistics already being 40% for the first marriage, I didn't want to get remarried again, but I met you and I fell in love and here I am. No.
So if someone would come by and sweep you, I asked her this question at one point while we were dating. I said, so you don't want to get married again?
No.
So what if someone came by and swept you off your feet? I mean, this was the guy for you. Would you marry him then? Well, maybe. Well,
And
guess what maybe turned into?
It turned into coming up on 5 years. No,
4
4
years.
4
Coming
years.
up on, I know. It's so exciting. You want to add another year to it.
It is true, and when you go through, and those of you that are divorced, you're brokenhearted, you're devastated. You finally get back
It's
on your
hard.
feet. You meet somebody, and you're like, oh, I like this person, I like this guy. I really want to date this guy or girl. And you get in a relationship, and you meet the kids, and everything's going okay. And then all of a sudden, you get into it, and then you've got everybody from the outside making problems.
Sure.
Because they don't like this and they don't like that, or they have to have this and they have to have that. And I tell you, when I did the research on this stuff, I was so shocked and amazed as to what goes on, that if you don't deal with this situation that you have right now, that person causing you problems is going to cause it to you. It doesn't matter who you're married to.
Right.
And that leaves us stepmoms feeling, I'm so frustrated. It's like, I got into this marriage and I wanted to be married to this person. I didn't count on all these 50, 60 other things going on. What? And even
No,
as,
you don't.
even a guy married to a woman, if she's got problematic people on her side, what am I going to do? I didn't ask for this. And the first divorce, took me 14 years to get divorced, took you 17 years. When you finally get up, when you get to the point, the second time, you're a lot less apt to take as much crap. And you're going to draw that line in the sand soon and say, you know what?
It happens.
I ain't putting up with this. But if you really realize where it's coming from,
Right.
if it's not coming from you, it's coming from outside sources, you become a team and you're going to move forward. And we're going to talk about that in our coaching rules.
That's quite important.
Yes. And as stepmoms, I just want to talk about some of the ways that we may feel. And this isn't the way, not all of us have all felt this, but these are some common things that we may feel. And number one, some women may feel second best. They feel that the ex-wife and her children have everything and they have nothing.
Right.
When you're paying child support, when you're paying alimony, and you're living on this and that, it's easy to feel, well, when is it going to be our turn?
Mm-hmm.
But if you realize, if you're getting paid child support,
Right.
your husband's got to pay child support.
Definitely.
And we had some problems with my child support, but child support always comes first. We don't have alimony in my state. I mean, them women that complain about alimony, I don't know. I can't sympathize with you because we don't have it in my state, and I did without it. But if you can get it, good for you. But child support's got to be paid.
Yes, it does.
It has to be paid. That should be first and foremost.
That comes off the top.
Their insurance, yeah, and we always make sure on that. Some stepmoms may feel abused by the children, from the stepchildren
depending on how
in the
the
house.
children are behaving in the house.
Exactly.
Yeah, they can be abusive.
Because sometimes, if dad's not taking action or whatever, and he's letting the kids run all over, it can happen. Stepmoms can also feel like they lost herself. I felt like that. I felt like, I got sad, I got depressed. I felt like I turned into this person that I never was.
Right.
And I'm like, how did I get here? Why, I'm letting all these other things bother me. And I'm acting negatively towards my husband, and I'm yelling at my own children, and I'm losing all this time. And I don't know if you're a stepmom, if you can relate to that. It's like, what happened to who I was?
Right.
I wasn't this person.
No, you weren't.
And we can learn to turn that around and get you back to how you were. You may feel like everyone is against you, that no one likes you, that for whatever reason, and it can be a very lonely feeling, like, what did I do?
Right.
You may feel like a doormat. You may feel like, or a short order cook. You go to cook dinner or cook lunches and everyone's like, well, I don't eat that. And we don't do this and we don't do that. Here we have a simple rule. And I don't really have an issue with his kids, but in some families, they don't like this, they don't like that. We have a rule that I make simple dinners when the kids are here,
Right.
burgers, fries, whatever. But we always have the peanut butter and jelly.
Sure
If you
do.
don't like
Good
what's being
standby.
served
It's
dinner,
healthy.
then you're welcome to have a sandwich. And so be it. So there's ways that we can teach you how to curb, that kind of action. You may feel like you don't do anything right. And I
Right.
felt like that. I felt like every weekend would leave and I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm such a failure. I'm such a terrible mom. I'm so this and I can't get the hang of this. And what did I say wrong? And what did I do? And, and it really makes you, because you're a good parent to your children.
Sure
And
are.
then when other people are complaining about, you just,
Well, and sometimes you just have a small window of time.
yeah.
A weekend. Okay, sometimes a weekend is just enough time for them to come in the door. So what happened this last week? How was school?
Yeah.
How was this? How was your biology exam? How was, all their things that they have going on? And just sometimes it seems like by the time you get caught up on what they did this last week, they're having to go home.
I know. And I felt often just like, I couldn't do anything right, and I kind of just, I was going to say something else too, but I lost it. You may have, hurt feelings. You may feel misunderstood. You may feel not heard. You're telling your husband, listen, this and this and this is occurring, and he's not listening to you, or he's not hearing you, and he's not acknowledging it, partly because he doesn't really know what to do either. He's like,
Right.
I don't know what to do. They come in the door and, I know what I was going to say. What happened to me was, because my girls are here all the time, they have good rapport with you.
Sure do.
And you guys have this happy, good time and everything. And then I wasn't having the same relationship with your children. Everything was okay, but I felt like I just couldn't do
You didn't
anything.
feel the same connect.
I didn't feel the same connection. I'm like, how can I it's getting better now. I had to change myself.
Right.
I had to change myself as a stepmom. And often these feelings can lead to being resentful, angry, and unfortunately divorced again.
That can happen.
People check out. They're like, listen, I'm not dealing with this. I just divorced my ex-husband or ex-wife out of so many years. I'm not dealing with your ex.
I'm not going to wait another 17 or I'm not going to wait another 13, or I'm not going to. Yeah, people.
And you can turn that behavior off, and you can stop that.
So then the perspective from the father.
He may feel. Mm-hmm.
He may feel a lot of different things himself.
Mm-hmm.
He may feel that the new wife, is always complaining. Because she feels like she's lost herself, because she feels like she hasn't gotten the respect.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes all he's hearing is, oh, she's just not happy, and the new wife is judgmental of my kids or my ex.
Mm-hmm.
The new wife hates my ex, doesn't like when I speak with her. I'm not in love with my ex. I'm in love with my new wife.
Mm-hmm.
But there are times when I have to talk with my ex because we have kids between us. We have to schedule the, as I call them, hostage exchanges.
Yeah.
When are the kids coming over? When would you like me to have them back? That sort of thing.
Some women have big issue with that. We'll talk about that more, but go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Sometimes at that point, the husband, they feel confused because the new wife just starts to withdraw.
Mm-hmm.
With what Kristen explained, you kind of understand why.
Mm-hmm.
He feels stuck in the middle. She's getting jealous of the kids. Then sometimes he watches her trying to play Superman, trying to make everybody happy, and then when it doesn't happen, there's nothing left of her for everyone else. As a husband, you may feel no one supports you. Where's my support now?
Mm-hmm.
Or no one likes my parenting style. It gets to be hard as the husband himself.
Yeah, absolutely. There's problems that you can often feel that way, and you can feel from the dad's aspect that I'm.
Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about our business, because Kristen and I are business coaches. We're family coaches. We're relationship recovery coaches, and by attending one of our relationship recovery seminars or getting involved in our couples coaching sessions, you learn that these feelings are actually normal, and that many stepmothers and husbands often feel the same way. There's a lot of confusion. pent up and misguided arguing and a lot of misunderstanding